guys, welcome to Overcrest. I'm Chris.
And I'm Jake.
And here we are in our we're on our personal domiciles. We're in our domiciles. We I thought maybe I could get more work done if I spent less time at the studio.
Oh, okay.
And boy, have I ever.
Uh-oh.
I've been on an absolute tear in the garage. I've had engines in and out like 3 times.
Yeah, I saw that. So your wife actually texted me this weekend, and she was like, Chris has basically been in the garage for 3 days straight. And I go, oh my, okay. Like, I don't know if she was concerned for you and wanted me to like interject or what, but yeah, I mean, that's exciting. I've been in the garage as well, but probably not as productive as you.
I get really focused on certain things.
Okay.
Like when I have I was waiting for parts. I needed things. I needed a special tool for this. And then once everything was there, I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's go. Let's do this. And I guess I'm going to hit my elbow on this vise about 9,000 times. I might have to move this vise. If you're watching, I'm on my workbench, my actual tool bench in the garage. I got the car right behind me here, which runs. Yep. I drove it to the gas station today.
That's
and
exciting.
put fuel in it, which is a big deal. But yeah, this is my actual workbench. What am I doing? I have no idea what's going on. I'm running out of flat surfaces. Overcrest is.
You need Flat Surfaces Inc.
I need Flat Surfaces Incorporated. Absolutely. Anyway, so yeah, I've been out here a lot. I've got the Trooper is right over here. I had the engine in and out of that thing like 3 times. So I've installed and pulled engines on both vehicles twice. So in 3 days, 4 times. In and out, in and out, in and out.
Why?
And out.
Okay, so run me through what project were you working on first, or what are you doing?
Okay, so
what are you doing, Chris?
I put the cams in the M110.
Yes.
And did all the valve adjustments, stuff like that. Like I said, I'm super proud of myself. I think last week we talked about that, how proud I am of me. And
but you hadn't driven. You hadn't driven the new cams and setup yet.
Nope. No, I got everything timed later on. So I got everything timed, put a new valve guide in, got everything sorted out, and I
just put a single valve guide. A valve guide.
All the valve
guides.
The one I broke.
Oh, really? So literally just one valve guide.
Just one. The rest looked fine. I mean, they're very thick valve guides, and
I was thinking of the valve seals, not the valve.
I replaced half of the valve seals because the exhaust side, they were still squishy. And the box I got was the wrong ones. They were the wrong size.
Okay.
They impossible. And I'm not waiting another week for valve stem seals to show up.
I mean, you could do you have to take the cams out I suppose you do have to take the cams out to redo that.
Yeah. Yep. You do.
Okay. Well, hopefully they don't leak.
Well, you don't have to take the cams out. It's a split cam box, so I can just take the cam box off.
Oh, okay.
And then leave the head gasket installed.
But you'd still have to retime everything.
Yeah, which actually wasn't too hard. It was actually quite easy. Maybe I got lucky. It's weird because one cam rotates one way, and the other cam rotates the opposite direction.
Because the chain is on the underside of that.
It goes on the underside of that sprocket,
which is strange.
Very unique. Everything was kind of like, hey, let's try this back in the day, because not everybody was doing twin cam engines in the mid 60s. It was fairly uncommon. So people, I think, were the engineering people are still trying to find their way. There's so many different variations of things and the way that they were done back then.
So I remember looking at that head, and it's so strange because the camshaft chain runs over one cam sprocket and then goes under the other one at a diagonal. Yes. Yep. So my question is, when you have belts, you have tensioners set up so that it has maximum contact with 180 degrees worth of the pulley, right? Because you need a lot of contact surface. So is the cam sprocket just riding on a tangent?
No, there's another a gear underneath that gear that makes sure that the
So it is just as complex, more complex in order to do it slightly differently.
Yes. Well, I think the problem is that the cams are, because the cylinder head is so big, the cams are very far apart. So I don't know that you would want a huge traversal of a chain across, however far that is. I don't think that's a good idea. So that's what I surmise anyway.
Engineering hour, where we just make things up.
Absolutely. So engine is in this thing now.
Okay,
So
engine is in.
I tried to put the engine in first, and I got everything lined up, and I couldn't get the input shaft on the transmission into the pilot hole of the clutch.
Why?
Because I couldn't jack the rear of the car up to turn the wheel to move the drive shaft to get the thing in the exact right spot.
So couldn't you have turned the engine over while it's on like the hoist and try to line it up?
You kind of want someone that can be back there and kind of just do this,
right?
Like wiggle it back and forth.
But you don't have any patience, and
it was cold. That was the problem. So I quit.
Yeah.
I just quit, and for like 2 days, which is like, and then that's when I went and worked on the Trooper. And I finished.
So quitting on one project means just working on another project.
Moving on to another one.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe last week when I said that you should only have like 4 projects, maybe that was wrong. Maybe maybe it was.
Oh, you're saying it's
more.
Good because then once you get frustrated, you can just
move on to something else. You can just move on. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so I eventually got the garage door open, got the car jacked up, and put the motor in, and then I just quit. I went for an entire day. I put everything together, and I walked away because I was honestly scared to start.
Why?
I don't know.
You were like, because I put all this work into it. What
did I do wrong?
Right.
Because I'm an idiot. I'm very cavalier about everything, and I lose track of what
professional mechanics.
No,
right?
absolutely not. Absolutely not. So I'm trying to I put things together and I forget things. And so I had to go back and I checked everything, and then I would go inside and I don't know, eat, take a dump, whatever, come back out, and I would check everything again. Literally just check everything. All the little pieces, oil lines. Dude, this thing has an oil line just like the 911. It's a return line that goes from the cylinder head outside of the motor.
Oh no.
It's like I don't know if it's just a drain. I don't know if it's just a drain for
it's probably a drain
for the cylinder head to go to the oil pan.
Yeah, but it's external. It's not external. It's not an internal oil gap.
No, and it's broken. The one I have is broken, so I had to make one.
Oh no.
And
this seems like you were just asking for trouble.
So I take the broken one, I go to the hardware store, and I'm holding it up to all, you go in the back, you look at all the lines that are there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm holding it up, and I found one that's
Is it a rubber line?
It's a rubber. Normally that's like a hard plastic line that's crimped on that can't come loose because it's crimped
This sounds so familiar.
Yeah. I honestly, since we're video, I should just find it. Let's see if I don't know.
Good luck with that. I've seen your garage.
It's pretty clean.
As he's looking around in the dark.
Yeah. It's around here somewhere. Anyway, so there's it just kind of clips on, and it's fairly loose.
Okay.
So I don't think it has pressure.
No, it's probably not a high pressure line. It's just a drain. But still,
so
if
I got one that fits perfect.
Okay.
If that would fail, I wouldn't lose oil pressure. It would just
until you run out of oil.
Right, but I think that you would notice.
How? How would you know?
Have you ever smelled oil?
Yeah, but you didn't smell it on the 911.
That's because the engine's in the behind me, in the backside, in the behind me area.
Can that be our next T-shirt? The engine's in the behind me.
Turn your mic down a little bit. You're a little hot when you get all bothered.
I'm rowdy. Yes,
you're rowdy.
So, so external oil line.
Yeah. So I got a perfectly shaped line, and I got brand new hose clamps, and and I took it on and off 4 times. I'm do, and I would cut another 1/4 inch off because I wanted to make sure that it was all downhill. I didn't want it to bow up and then go because I didn't want it to get oil to get stuck in the valley of this hose. So I had it on and off 6 times. I've got this. I bought a hose cutter tool, and you just cut it and you put it on. It's perfect, I think.
Okay.
So that was scary. Just generally having that cylinder head apart. The tensioner in this thing is super weird. It's a weird, not hydraulic, spring driven tensioner, but it's a piston, but it only goes in one direction. Once it's out, it doesn't come back. So you have to put it in a certain way and then torque it down and then tap it with a hammer so it snaps out and then hits the guide and onto the chain. But if you have it too far out, it'll snap farther and then not. It is an absolute.
That seems like a really weird.
This
setup.
is the 60s, man. It's the 60s.
I know.
So everything is weird. If you look at
well, because like you said, there hasn't been an established way to design a tensioner or whatever it is.
No, nothing. I mean, obviously, even there wasn't even hydraulic tensioners on a 911 back then. It was just a spring tensioner. It was just this little guy. Well, I think it was hydraulic on the inside, right? It had oil in it. Don't they have oil in them? I
Well,
think.
there's two versions. Like there's the hydraulic and then there's the mechanical.
Yeah,
And I
whatever.
forget which
Anyway,
one
whatever the
you
case may be,
retrofit to.
I put it in. I started it up, and it
Uh-huh.
fucking runs mint. I spent all this time like closing the throttle bodies and adjusting the linkages so all the idles were in exactly the right spot. Like
Right.
moving these little like what are they the little can like turnbuckle the little turnbuckle on the
Yeah, for the
throttle
linkage.
rods.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's weird because the cylinder head rises vertically. Okay,
Okay.
so it rises vertically in the engine compartment, but I
So
can't do.
like from front to back, it goes
Yes,
up.
it's higher in the
Okay.
front than it is in the
Sure.
back because it's just the way it is. Slightly. I mean, we're not talking a
Higher in the
lot.
front. So it's the opposite of the hood line.
Yes, and that
That's
creates a
weird.
problem when you have side draft carburetors because they're sticking up, and you don't
Yeah.
want them running into the hood. So the carburetors go straight. So all the
Okay.
runners are the exact same length, but to get
Right.
them to fit, the
Yeah.
carburetors are straight. So it's kind of this interesting linkage situation, like getting everything lined up with the turnbuckles
I
and the
remember, yeah, when we originally put them on and how
yes.
kind of, yeah,
Yeah.
unique that setup was, I'll say.
It's very unique and it's difficult to get right. But so I get it. I got everything. I moved the idles in like a quarter of a turn. I reset the carbs to 2 turns out.
Mhm.
Just did everything
So
from
this is all
scratch
baseline before you even started it.
before I even started. I mean, I
Okay.
like, I was like pin level trying to make sure all these. I counted the threads. Went to start it up. Just started up and idled perfect. Just
Wow. So you didn't even have to touch anything.
I just do a little bit of
You
syncing,
tweaked a little bit.
a
Yeah.
little tweaking, but it was dead on,
Okay.
and that's it. Then I turned the key off and went inside and went to bed.
What?
I didn't drive it
Why?
because I didn't have gas. There's no gas in the car. I only had like a gallon, so I didn't
So drive it to the gas station.
the gas. I don't know. No, I'm not. No,
What?
because I get stranded and I'd have to call somebody. Hey, I'm ran out of gas. I don't know how much gas is in
And
the car. The lights on. I wrapped on the tank with a wrench. And it's like bong. So there's no fuel in there,
At least you
guaranteed.
checked. At
I
least you
did.
checked.
Well, the
As
light
we'll
is
get
like
to
a nuclear
in a minute.
triangle.
Um,
But I drove it
okay.
today.
And you didn't have any gas in any jerry cans at the house.
No,
that you
so I
could have
took
brought
a
with?
jerry can to the no because I put it all in the red shit box.
Okay, yeah, that's
So
right.
so that's got all the gas in it now. So I did drive it today though.
Okay, but knowing you, I'm super surprised you didn't like siphon gas out of the red car into the white driven to death car just to get it going. Like you are the guy that has zero patience usually.
I was very careful about
Okay.
monitoring my patients. And if you'll notice, I didn't do any Instagram stories on any of the installation of the motor,
No,
any
you
of the
didn't. You're
tuning of the
right.
carbs,
That's why I feel
nothing.
like this is all surprising to me.
Yeah, so I didn't do it was all
Okay.
just
So
like
you were being very diligent and
I was being trying to be careful because
yeah.
it's fun to do the Instagram stories, but it's easy. I'm easily
Yeah,
distracted.
you get
period.
distracted. Yeah, for
Like
sure.
I'm already just like, where am I? What am I doing?
Yeah.
Why am I standing in the bathroom with a banana? Like it's like I don't. It's
Is that a euphemism?
maybe it's my subconscious. I don't know.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
it's yeah. So I just really tried to focus and bear down. But like I said, I drove it today. It drove great.
So today, just this morning,
Just
is
this
the
morning,
first time you've driven it.
I went and got gas and put it in. It drives great on the primaries,
Yeah.
like the idle circuit. It's dead. It needs fuel. Like whatever jets
Oh,
that were in there before are not
aren't
enough.
doing it.
So you can
Okay.
go wide open throttle. It sounds great. It's definitely faster than it was before.
Okay.
Stronger.
Well, it should be. It has
it
how much
sounds
more
better.
compression?
Yeah, it sounds better. It's snappier.
Uh,
Even like just partial throttle driving seems like it's the same speed as wide open
when you
throttle
were
was
wide
before.
open. Yeah.
Yeah, because I
How
could
do
barely
you
go 90 miles an hour. It's just stupid.
you don't have a wideband on that thing, do you?
I can't find it. I bought an Innovate wideband so that I could shove
Yeah.
it in the exhaust pipe and just
Right.
tune that way. I don't know where the gauge
Yeah,
is.
I have a length of exhaust pipe that I welded an O2 bung
Yeah.
on that I'll strap to the end of the exhaust when tuning.
Yeah, you're far more
And
complex than me. I just I feed the cable in there and then put a vice grip on the thing, and then it just stays in there. It's fine.
for a while.
Well,
Okay, but
it's not
so
gonna-
my question is, how do you know that it's not getting enough fuel?
it's logic, and I know what things
Okay.
feel like. It's just
Have
a
you pulled the
feeling.
plug?
I did drive it pretty hard, like right before I got to my street. I didn't pull a plug because I didn't want to pull the plug on a hot motor. So it's cooled down now, so I can
See
pull a
how
plug and
white
see.
it is.
Yeah, it's. I just know. I know
Yeah.
it's
No, I get
got
it. Okay.
just stock. It's got 30 more horsepower than it should have, plus
Okay.
cams.
Okay.
So
Plus compression.
yeah, well, that's
How
plus
much down
compression.
on compression were you? Remember your
30,
leak down test was like
40%,
ridiculous? Right.
40%.
So I really want you to get this thing dialed in so you can drive it and be like, holy crap.
Yeah, I do too. But I gotta be methodical and careful and try not to be myself.
This is so. Who are you? This is so out of character.
I cannot afford to fuck anything up right now. I just can't.
Okay.
I just
Okay.
can't.
So that was the driven to death car.
Yeah.
Then you have
I have
the
the red car,
trooper.
the trooper. Yeah, I welded the
What'd you do
mounts
with
up
the
on that.
trooper?
So I have to.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out if I need to notch the firewall or not because the motor is right up against the firewall.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
you
I
have a
think
water neck back there.
yeah, I just need to weld up or have somebody weld up a like a custom water neck that's shorter
Yes.
and doesn't stick out
Yes.
so far. That's it.
I like that
That's as far
plan.
as I got with that. I haven't
Oh,
touched the
okay.
trooper too much.
Is the motor back out?
Yeah, it's out. It's on the floor,
Okay.
so I can make the water.
So
neck
take that neck and bring it to one of our friends who does this
I
stuff and have
sound.
it
I
made.
found a guy. Actually, it was Jason Whipple referred me to Swoops, which is I don't know. You
Yeah.
might. Do you remember Hardlines?
Hardline by Swoops.
Yep, yep, exactly. He makes
Back in the
stuff. I sent
day.
him an email, didn't respond, and his Instagram
Okay.
says, "Don't DM me." So I'm like, okay, so what do I do?
How do I?
Because he has like this thing that's out of stock that I need, which is just basically the flange with nothing on it. It's just the
Oh, I
flange.
suppose it's a Volkswagen motor, so all of this stuff is
It's just the
Okay.
flange. So I
I
need
was like,
just
why
the
would
flange.
he
Then I
have
can
it?
weld a 90 on it,
Sure.
and then
Okay.
yeah, shoot it out the side. That's what I need.
That seems simple enough. Why not
Yeah,
just cut? Is it just a flat flange? Like get some 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch steel and just cut a flange.
I can just cut. I have an aluminum one. I can just cut the flange off that. But welding
How are you gonna weld
cast
that
and
then?
yeah, cast
Yeah.
aluminum with new aluminum can kind of be a bear. But this dude makes the fucking part, so
Okay.
I
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
the thing. I want the part. And then I made a
Okay.
block off plate for the vacuum pump. So diesels don't really do
Right.
vacuum.
They don't generate vacuum because there's
They
no
just don't.
throttle plate.
Yeah.
So there's nowhere to pull vacuum from on the intake manifold like you would with a regular gas motor.
Right.
The
It's just
proper
yeah. So
motor.
normally, like back in the day, you'd
Yeah.
have a
So there's
mechanical pump.
another convoluted system that you need on a diesel.
Convoluted. It's like it's yeah. Nice try. Everybody knows a vacuum pump is about as simple as it gets. So anyway, so I got a block off plate because that's on the firewall side too. So I got a block off
Okay.
plate to run on the side of the cylinder head. So I'm going to run an electric vacuum pump. What a
Okay.
lot of the hot rod guys will do is an electric
Sure.
vacuum pump, just because
Okay.
their cars don't generate vacuum because they have
Right.
the most enormous cams known
Ridiculous.
to man.
Yeah.
So they
lumpy
just
cam.
don't work. Like you pull up to a light and your car's like gung, 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 and you hit the brakes and there's nothing there. So they have to run
Yes.
like an electric vacuum pump.
Got it. Okay.
Did you do anything this
I
week?
did, but I want to hear about the red car. We don't even know about the red car either.
It runs.
This thing is
So
like
we
mint.
talked about it, right?
Yeah, but you sat there and polished the hell out of it.
I did. Well, here's the secret. I only polished the fender and the hood and then filmed that because it's a big car
and
and
that's
I
all
didn't.
we saw.
That's all you
we
saw. I didn't do anything
Okay.
else. I
I mean,
drove
the
ar-
hood, like it was the worst part though. Like
Yeah,
that was
it was.
super oxidized.
Well, and
orange.
the trunk. It like I said, single stage is amazing. You can always
Yeah.
polish it and then you have to seal it, but it's definitely a 10-footer, the car. Definitely.
Still,
A 10,
it
12,
was not
15.
even a 100-footer before.
No. It was you don't even want to look at it from any distance. But I also got a new carb from my buddy Dave Cheney.
Okay.
He rebuilt the Solex
that's right.
carburetor. I bolted
Yep.
that fucker on there, started it right up. Idle's perfect. I drove it around
That's
the block.
awesome.
It's great until the oil line that goes to the instrument clutch, like a hose on it, and then like put a nut in or a bolt in the hose.
Oh,
And
right.
it-
Yeah. And I made fun of you for
Yeah,
this.
and it blew a hole right through the line. So started shooting oil all over the interior,
Well,
all
hey,
over my legs.
Good oil pressure.
Yeah, it does have.
Oh
does
my
have
god, that's.
good oil pressure.
Remember, I was like, "This is such a stupid system. Like, so much more propensity for leaks."
Normally
et
it's a
cetera,
hard
and
line.
What just happened?
It's actually a physical hard line.
Yeah, like a
Yeah,
copper
well,
line or
it's
whatever. Okay.
Probably not copper, but it's like that hard plastic, and then it's a hard line itself.
Oh,
Plugs
well,
into the back of the instrument cluster, so you have like this. Dude, this is like I said. This is the 60s, okay? This is when this technology, like VDOs, didn't start making gauges that were electric like that till the early 70s, mid 70s.
What? Yeah. I'm trying to think how like an old American car uses oil pressure gauge.
I
It's
don't
a
think
thin copper line that just runs air pressure from like the valve down on the block.
Is that what it does?
You know what I mean? Yeah, it doesn't.
I
It's
can't
still
believe that
just
would
like
work.
mechanical
That can't
pressure,
work because
but it's
no,
not.
you can compress air, so that's not gonna work. It can't be air.
You're
So it's
right.
gotta be, like, some sort of
Is it
fluid.
actually oil
It
all the
probably
way
is
up?
oil
I don't
all the
know.
way up. It
Anyways,
probably is. That's the only way there was to do
okay.
it.
It's just that I saw the video of you literally like holding your hand here to keep oil from spraying
Yes.
everywhere, and I was like, of
Yeah.
course,
Yeah,
yes,
that was a
of
great
course
I
that
got
would
about,
happen.
10 yards down the road. It was awesome. It was amazing. But that thing is gonna be, I think it'll be a driver. It drives nice. It shifts nice. Yeah, I think that'll be my daily driver till the 911 gets back in 3 weeks or a month.
Right. Well, you're going out there and gonna drive it
Yeah,
back.
I'm flying out to, Los Angeles to pick up the car from
Yep.
TLG. He's gonna do a valve adjustment or, finish breaking the motor in, do a valve adjustment because I didn't drive it enough, and,
Right.
recurve the distributor. I'm gonna fly out there, grab the car, drive it up to Lufkkult in Vallejo, hang out there where we have the only Airbnb on the whole island. Haha. You gotta be quick on the draw with that when things are announced. And then, Veronica's flying out. We're gonna road trip it home. We're gonna drive it all the way back.
That's
Yeah.
super cool.
And then I
That's
have
gonna
to
be
figure
awesome.
out scouting the rally, dude. Like, when am I gonna do this? What am I gonna
So,
do?
well, that's why I was curious why you're driving the 911 back versus
Because I owe
using that
Veronica
to
a road
scout
trip.
it.
I
Okay.
wanna do a road trip with
Yeah,
her.
but you could drive back after scouting. Had you planned?
Uh, yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, we gotta work on that
Yeah,
though, because
I gotta get out
we have
there.
a
June,
rally
I
this
gotta go
fall.
out in
It turns
June
out.
at some point. I'll probably just it's in
Yeah.
Portland. It's in the Oregon area. I'll just be able to fly out there and get almost any cool car that's not rusty. It's gonna be
So that's what you need is another project car to bring home.
yes. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Good call. Yes. And if you want to be up to date on the rally, you need to be on our mailing list. Head over to our website, overcrestproductions.com. Scroll to the bottom, or overcrestproductions.com/subscription, or overcrestproductions.com/whatever the heck Chris is looking for.
No,
That'll
that's
also
actually
direct
the
you
link, whatever
to
Chris is looking for.
uh it's something ridiculous. Like this link is for people who don't know what they're looking for, such as Chris. I don't remember. Regardless, it's everywhere on the website. Sign up, be up to
Yeah.
date on
Tell me
all
a
of our
little bit
latest
about
things, and get
Auto
our
Anon.
awesome newsletters. Yeah, Auto Anon. They're our
No,
new
Anon,
sponsor that
not
we.
Anon. Anon, Auto
I'm
Anon.
just enunciating. Auto
There you go.
Anon. Is that better? It's Automotive Anonymous. How about I just say the
You
actual
can do
name?
that.
Yeah, so it started out as a personal collector of motorsports goods. It's turned into an amazing curated store of vintage automotive posters and collectibles. Chris, I want you to go over there right now,
Okay.
autoanon.com, and take a look because they have
Let's do this.
hundreds of
I'm gonna
products
pull up.
from all sorts of awesome old motorsport
Let's look at this
decor.
together. I'm gonna share the screen. You and I
Okay.
can
Yep. I'm going to keep telling you what it's about while you get that set up. So, all of the posters featured on the site are original, with many extremely rare pieces. The unique enamel pins that they also offer are all limited editions. Inventory is updated every month with vintage motorsport apparel, books, models, and other collectibles coming soon. So, Chris is on the site right now at
look at these
autoanon.com, or you
posters,
can check
man.
him out on Instagram at automotiveanonymous.com.
Wow.
Oh, click on that
Dude,
944
there's
one.
so many posters.
Oh, there's hundreds. There's literally
This one you
hundreds
want?
of original. Yeah, what is that one? Oh,
30 and a quarter by
it's not the
40
turbo though.
inch. Wow, that's a huge poster.
That's a big OG poster.
Let's look at it.
And what I love, the prices are all over the place. Like that one's only 35
Yeah.
bucks. That's awesome for an original OG poster. And then there's some extremely
Oh, look at
rare
this.
stuff.
Wow.
What? That is super cool. We should mention to people who are just tuning in, because the vast majority of people are still only listening to us and not
Yeah,
watching
we're
us. So you can head over to either YouTube or Spotify and get the video streaming.
Yeah,
of
these
us
are
as
really
well,
cool. I like
and you
some of
can look
these.
at our ugly
Like this
mugs.
is super cool. Look at that.
Yeah. And when I was chatting with the owner, I love that he spends so much time doing like deep research into valuing these, because a lot of these are like, wow, it's the prices. There's a lot of range, right? And he does a lot of research, and the pricing generally comes in lower than the last sale he's seen. Right. So some of those, as you can see, are extremely rare.
Yeah. Wow.
We're looking at a 4-digit price on a poster, but it is amazing.
Yeah, very cool. All
So
right.
check them out, autoanon.com. Everyone loves old, cool motorsport posters.
Absolutely.
Okay,
I
so
have some. You want to see one of mine? I'm gonna grab it real quick.
no.
No? No,
Okay,
fine. No,
go
you don't want
for
to
it.
see it. No,
No,
that's fine.
no, I don't want
No,
to.
that's fine.
No. Okay, so I was also out in the garage for the entire weekend because our friend Colin came over, and long story short,
Listen,
I now have two 944 turbos sitting in my garage up in the air.
beautiful. I like it. Where's your 911?
Yes. 911 still in
Okay.
storage, the storage facility, because I have no room at my house. I have multiple cars sitting out in the
Yeah.
driveway. My garage is full.
You need to
We
move.
did go over to the store, working on it. We did go over to the storage facility though, because I asked Nikki. I was like, I've literally been hanging out with a friend in the garage all weekend. What do you want to do? She's like, I want to ride the Ducati. I want to ride the bike.
It's a
Get the
little
bike
early
out.
for
It's going to be
bikes, isn't
awesome
it?
this week. No, we saw a
I know,
lot
but
on
isn't there
the road.
sand and
Yes, I'm waiting a little bit more for like the road to
yeah.
clear to be safe, but whatever. It's going to be 80 degrees this week, which is nuts to me. So we go over to the storage facility, get the battery back in the bike, and I'm like driving it around a little bit, revving it out, and I test out the brakes, and the front locks up a little bit, and I was like, "Ooh, okay, not used to riding anymore." And then I was thinking after the fact, well, hold on, this thing has ABS. Why did it do that?
Ooh.
And so I was like, oh, whatever. So Nikki hops on. I'm following her home. And she's like, well, first of all, the speedometer isn't showing. It's a digital speedo and it's not showing the speed. So I have to figure that out still. I think there's some plug or something that disconnected. But because it's not seeing speed from the speed sensor, the ABS can't work. Right?
Sounds awesome.
Yes. Anyways,
You know what doesn't have
so
any of
we're
those
going
problems?
along. Any bike that isn't
Yeah.
digital.
Like the one right behind
This
you?
is a brand new 2022 Ducati or
Yeah.
whatever it is. Yes, that bike does not have that problem. So I'm following her on the road coming home, and all of a sudden, hazards on. She pulls off to the side. She's like, instrument cluster, all these warning lights. Tried to restart it. It's not starting. I get out. I'm sloshing. I don't hear anything in the tank, but it says like half
Yeah.
fuel on the digital readout. So I'm like, what is going on here? I'm like, maybe the battery is no good. Like it's slow starting and it's throwing all these weird codes and everything. So it's like, all right, you have the kiddo, you take the kid home so he's not sitting on the side of the road and we're going back and around and everything. And Colin was coming over anyways. So he came and picked me up on the side of the road. It's like, all right, let's go get gas. Except it was Easter afternoon and nothing is open. So I was like, I'll just go get a gas can from the gas station and pay way too much money for it and fill it up. Nothing. So we literally have a Caribou cup that we find in the trash can, a plastic cup, and a mini water bottle that I fill up with gas and driving, holding these things in the front seat to go get gas, and it worked out. But yeah,
I did
so
that just because I didn't
I
even want to
guess
pay for the stupid overpriced gas can. I did a 7-Eleven
yes.
cup.
Well, what I would have done, yes, is gotten an actual cup with a lid or like bought a water from a vending machine and drank the water and filled that up so it had a lid. Right. But I didn't have anything. So that was fun. Made it home, whatever. Got to figure that out. So pro tip 1, make sure your vehicle actually has gas when getting it out of storage. Pro tip 2,
No, you're supposed to just
nice
take
to
the gas with you when you go because you don't. We talked last week. Are you sure you want to store a Ducati with?
No, you don't want to store it with fuel in it. So it was actually, I probably did this on purpose. Thinking back, I was like, oh great, it's empty, and didn't realize that. So I don't know, that was fun. My only car related working on things that I'm very proud of is, so we were pulling the turbo out of our friend's car, and 944s, especially the turbos, are the worst things to work on. I do not like these cars at all. Everything
Dude, you just told me the other day, I love this car. I'm going to love this car. I'm going to drive this thing. This is going to be great. I absolutely love it. I can't wait to fall in love with this car.
Once
now
I
you're just telling you hate the car.
I hate working on it. It is the worst car to work on, period. And you could ask any of our friends that work on them, like Brandon's like, oh yeah, have fun. That sucks.
Is everything just...
They're the worst. Everything is so crammed in there. And just like, they did not keep anything in mind of like how to access, usually like very well built cars and I know Mercedes this way, there's also thought that goes into the design about maintaining, taking things apart, modularity. Everything is hard to get to. So to get to a bolt to unbolt the turbocharger, you have to go from under the car and remove the power steering rack from the subframe in order to get the angle to get the wrench up there. It's ridiculous. So then I get it up there, and it's not even a hex bolt. It is an Allen, and of course the Allen slips.
Holding the turbo on?
Yes, there's two
Allens?
bolts holding the turbo onto the. It's actually attached to the motor mount. It's really dumb. So strips out, the other one strips out. What the heck? So I get a Torx bit that's like one size too
Pound
big,
that fucker in there.
and I jam that up in there, and it starts to slip, and I'm like, crap. I'm like, I need more force holding it in there.
Yeah.
So what I did, I tried hammering it. That didn't work. I got my bottle jack out. I have extensions going all the way up. I have a Torx bit that shouldn't fit, and I literally bottle jack the Torx bit up into the bolt.
Yeah.
And it holds.
Nice.
And I was super proud of myself for that.
Have you ever physically welded an Allen to a bolt?
I was going to. There's no way I could get my welder up there. It is so like I couldn't even see where the bolt was. I had to use a scope to get in there to guide my wrench in.
Why would you want to work on this car?
I don't. I do not.
Okay, so you're going to sell it. Because maintenance sounds like a nightmare. And then you guys broke off a bunch of bolts for the water pump and everything else too. Like,
oh yeah, no, everything is just corroding on this thing. And there's just, no, everything's terrible. Yeah, there's still 2 bolts stuck into the block that I also broke an easy out into, because I drilled one of them out, drilled out really easily because the bolts are like soft for some reason from heat. And yeah, so I drilled it out. Great. Okay, put the easy out in. Yep. Kink.
Broke the easy off in the...
Broke the easy out.
You broke the tool steel inside the block. Or the head, or whatever it is. Nice.
Yes.
Good. You're never getting that out of there, and you're not welding anything to it.
Nope. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to
do. That sucks.
I think that car's just going to be in my garage now.
It just lives there.
It lives there. So I now have 2 944 turbos in my garage, up in the air. One on a hoist, one on jack stands.
Good luck. A little bit of news? What do you think? We haven't done news in a while.
Let's get into news.
This is a Volkswagens are assholes episode. There's a lot of Volkswagen doing naughty things.
Why?
It's just what they do. They do naughty things.
Okay, well, let me know.
Volkswagen is done with internal combustion engines, and we kind of knew this. But
no surprise.
Yeah, I kind of find this interesting that they're just the last sentiment in this paragraph. I think is interesting. In an extended interview with German publication Automobilwoche, which I couldn't read, and plus it's behind a paywall.
Woche. That's weak.
Week? Auto Week.
That's just
Volkswagen
German
brand
Auto Week.
CEO Thomas Schaefer spoke about what the future has in tow for the Wolfsburg Mark. Inevitably, the discussion revolved around EV and how the zero-emission push signals the beginning of the end for cars equipped with internal combustion engines. To that end, the head honcho revealed that VW is nearly done launching new internal combustion engine powered cars.
Right.
Later this year, the German brand intends to launch the next generation Passat, only as a wagon, which I thought was interesting.
Cool. Is it coming to the U.S. though?
Yeah, probably not. Oh, I bet the Passat comes. People buy the Passat. And the Tiguan. Come 2024, a new Tayron.
That sounds oddly
Volkswagen's
specific to
names are just getting out of control. The Tayron, which is a compact crossover for China, will follow along with a revamped T-Roc in 2025, which I think is the truck.
Which we don't get.
Truck.
That's the
we
truck.
are getting a
They're
truck.
Very cool.
We are getting a truck
from Volkswagen.
Schaefer says these will be the final next-gen ICE cars and will be available into the 2030s. T-Roc is the last new combustion engine in Europe that we will see in the horizon. Of course, the others get even bigger product upgrades, but completely new vehicles are not in the plan after that. At least not so far. What about the Golf? A major product upgrade will be announced in 2024 to keep the model fresh and competitive until the end of the decade. They're going to run the Golf for 6 years?
You're right.
6 years?
4.
Plus the already year or two?
I'm pretty sure every gen of Golf has always been 4 years.
A 9th generation with gasoline diesel engines is not planned. But VW's top brass doesn't completely rule it out. If the world develops completely differently than expected by 26, 27, then we can also launch a completely new vehicle. I do not believe that. So far, this is not planned. So the door is open a little bit.
Right, because they're like, you know what this is? This is because they saw the ruling in the EU that are like, oh, okay, we will, I guess, allow e-fuels, right?
Yes.
The recaptured carbon-based fuels.
And I could guarantee you.
And so they're like, maybe.
But this is, so I found this story. Kind of goes along with this like sentiment thing that's going on. This is from New Hampshire. Not long ago, California adopted a new law that sets low and zero emission motor vehicle standards. The bill essentially banned the sale of new gas and diesel powered motor vehicles starting in 2035. We knew this already, meaning only used internal combustion engine vehicles could be purchased. Otherwise, it would need to be an electrified vehicle. A bill recently made its way to the New Hampshire House of Representatives that sought to follow. Which state has the live free or die license plate? Is that Delaware?
What is that? Is that Connecticut?
Is it Connecticut? Is it New Hampshire? Look it up quick.
It's whatever.
We just talked about this. New bill in New Hampshire sought to follow in California's footsteps and enact the same ban on ICE vehicles.
It is New Hampshire. Live free or
die.
die.
Love it. You almost want to live there just so you can have that license plate. It's pretty rad. Needless to say, it did not go well. They tried to pass a law similar to what was in California. Did not go well.
Okay.
The New Hampshire rejection of California's emission rules comes on the heels of Colorado proposing a modified version of the Golden State standards that would not include an internal combustion engine ban. Instead, the Colorado Department of Public Health issued a final draft of the state's blah, 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 which tends to adopt later, blah, blah, blah. So it's like a modified version. This is really interesting to me because till now, it's been California passes CARB rule. And initially,
and everyone's just gonna.
Initially, there was a difference.
Initially, you would see California versions of cars, and so you'd go, "Oh, it's a California car. Oh, great! It has all the smog and
pump
the compression, etc."
Now,
but you're right.
Everything is the same now.
Right, because why would they not just design the car the same across the board?
So it's way easier to just design it the same. Now it looks like.
But are you thinking we're gonna go back to there's gonna be different variations, or at least you know what it's gonna be? Different models aren't gonna be available.
Here's the question: Am I going to be able to buy whatever the fuck I want in New Hampshire and have
just drive it to California?
Where's our LLC based, Jake?
Delaware.
Well, maybe Delaware. Well, I don't know, because we could, like, if they're going to say fuck off to all this EV stuff, we could.
We don't have a PO box in Delaware.
Oh, well, we could work on it.
That's how you register.
Yeah,
cars.
We got to work. Yes. I think it can't just be a PO box. I think it has to be like a real thing.
No, I know, but I'm saying we don't have an address established in Delaware. It's just that all LLCs are.
So
established in
is it going to be legal for me to buy whatever I want?
That's why
in Delaware.
Well, that's why people already do this in Montana, right? So they register. Or they set up some sort of address in Montana.
That's also taxes.
So they can register their car there.
That's taxes.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. It's for taxes and for California folks for smog exemption, right?
All right. So Volkswagen.
Yes, we could definitely
Volkswagen hates your kids.
Oh, good.
A carjacker assaulted a 34-year-old pregnant woman in Illinois, stealing her Volkswagen, along with her 2-year-old boy trapped in the back seat and running her over on the way out.
Okay, being a parent, isn't this like, do you know how you just like think through scenarios? This is what I've thought through. Like, okay, if I get carjacked to my kids there, it's like, well, either I better be carrying, or it's like, okay, you can have the car, you can have whatever you want, let me take my kid.
So what are you going to do about it?
I can't believe this happened.
Although badly injured, the woman managed to call. We don't know the circumstances of the carjacking. Maybe he had a gun. What are you going to do? You gonna have him shoot you and then take the kid?
I would still plead with him.
Of course. I'm sure she did.
Sure.
Of course she did.
Let me
this
take
woman
my kid.
was like, please let me get
know.
Of course. With little idea, although badly injured,
how terrible people
the woman managed to call 911. With little idea of where the carjacker fled, Lake County sheriffs rushed to call Volkswagen's CarNet service to track down the car.
Yeah.
But Volkswagen CarNet refused. Not because it had any qualms with forking over information to the police. It's not about privacy. It's because the mother hadn't renewed her subscription to CarNet.
No. Are you
And by
kidding
the
me?
time it was over, the information ended up being worthless, Covelli said, because the child, alive and well, had been dumped in a parking lot, where a bystander found
Ugh.
him and called police. The stolen car was also recovered not long after. Thankfully, the child was found safe and sound in this case, but what if the carjacker managed to switch cars with the child because VW was too busy pinching pennies? In response to the blunder, Volkswagen has
That's
tried
so
shifting
frustrating.
blame for the faux pas to its third-party subcontractor responsible for running the CarNet service. Quote, Volkswagen has a procedure in place with a third-party provider for CarNet support services involving emergency requests from law enforcement, a VW spokesidiot said in a statement. Anyway, so what's interesting...
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was whoever they were talking to was just like, oh, I'm not allowed to. Sorry.
It's just like the whole rule
you
thing is just... What are we doing?
Yeah.
We are setting up... We are
hope they
giving
find this
power
person,
to
though.
these people so they can make rules to make our life suck.
I know. Yeah, and I have... Do you want to hear my story
Real
too,
quick
then,
here.
about like law
Real quick here.
enforcement?
Last year, many
Okay.
VW customers found that the CarNet systems no longer even worked because they're lousily built on now obsolete 3G technology. Even the automaker knew it was already being replaced with 4G. There's a lawsuit.
This isn't a news story. Good. This isn't a news story, but I find it interesting. So, Nikki's mom has a Lexus. It's the RX, whatever, 400.
The egg.
And it's a fairly new car. It's like a 2016. Yep. And the remote start feature, along with everything else, runs through Wi-Fi, which was built on 3G. And so she isn't able to use any like remote functionality. Even the remote start is over Wi-Fi instead of...
So the car has its own Wi-Fi
instead of
thing, and you walk up and your key just pairs with the Wi-Fi?
Yes.
Nice.
Yep. So the problem is, she's like, okay, cool. Well, I want to do a remote start. And they're like, yeah, we can't. You need to buy a new car. And so there's a lawsuit about that too. Because like they knew, of course, way back then, but it was going to be obsolete. And they don't care.
All right. Volkswagen hates fun.
Also fun.
Hates fun.
They hate children.
They hate children. They hate fun. They what else do they hate? I already forgot.
Dude, that story made me so angry
engines?
though. Like I hope they find that guy.
Sure, this is an issue. People just carjack, go for a joyride, and then dump the car because nobody's enforcing the law.
But he ran a pregnant woman over and stole the kid and just dumped the kid.
Why not?
Like,
cops aren't doing anything anymore. Crimes.
Oh, do you want to hear about that, Chris?
Let's talk about Volkswagen hating fun.
No, because that's a more fun story. Because since we're on the topic, traffic deaths are up because police stopped policing, turns out. American roads are deadlier than they were before the pandemic, with deaths having spiked during 2020 and are currently 18% higher now than they were in 2019. Mm-hmm. Quote, it is unfortunately an American phenomenon, says Jonathan Adkins, CEO of the GHSS. It's a safety administration thing.
Some
quote,
bureaucracy
other Western
of some
countries.
Sort. Yeah.
It was, it's a private company. It's like, it's not a government agency. It's a company, but it's based out of somewhere.
What can Overcrest do that we're an agency that the government gives us money to
That's what this is.
How do I do that?
It's a good point.
What statistics can we give them that are valuable that they can pay us for? What have we got?
I think we just kind of have to know a guy, maybe, to be like that source.
Maybe we could donate or something.
Anyways, quote, other Western countries did not see the same sustained increase in traffic deaths. One important difference is the distinct pullback in policing following the George Floyd protests of 2020. And the statistics do, in fact, back this up. Traffic citations by police are down 86% compared to 2019.
Jesus.
Nearly 90% less citations across the board compared to 2019. Quote,
I know that the Minneapolis police have a directive not to do it.
I'm going to get there. Yeah. Quote, a lot of the decisions are made by the officer based on staffing levels and based on call loads, said Seattle Police Chief Adrian Diaz. He said his department lost hundreds of officers after the George Floyd protests in 2020. And one thing he had to cut were dedicated traffic details. Patrol officers now spend upwards of 70% of their shifts responding to more urgent calls and service. So even if you are on a traffic detail, you're 70% of the time you're not doing it because you're doing other things, right? Because there's
Well, I
not
mean,
enough
I
police
think
officers.
like 20-30% of the police force has disappeared. I wouldn't want to do that job. Are you
Yes.
insane? No.
No. Yeah, and in some
Not unless
cases,
I'm in
the
like some
reduced
rural
traffic
place where I'm just rolling up and being
would
like,
vary.
"Hey, man, how are things going at the barber
Hey,
shop
cool it.
today?" Some small town cop.
Yeah.
Sure.
Andy
Yeah,
Griffith.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't exist anymore. In some cases, the reduced traffic enforcement is also a matter of policy. That's what you're getting at here. High profile deadly encounters during traffic stops, blah, 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 have put pressure on many police departments not to pull cars over for minor violations. Philadelphia, Minneapolis, and the entire state of Virginia have adopted formal policies limiting stops for minor violations, sometimes called pretextual stops.
Pre
Seattle,
pre
too, has
what?
instructed officers pretext
Okay.
stops, pretextual. Seattle has instructed officers not to pull cars over for certain non-moving violations. So if you have expired license tags, if you have obstructions on your windows, if you aren't wearing your seatbelt, they just said don't pull them over.
Good. Yeah. Anarchy. Nice.
So
This is the devolution
90%.
of the social contract, where we're all supposed to.
Yeah, I don't want to get too much more into it, but it's just amazing that's a hard stat. 90% less citations given since
You're not going to let me
2019.
talk about this, are you?
No, it looks like we're out of time.
All right, let's go. Volkswagen hates fun. Dude, the social contract is devolving before our very eyes.
I don't want to get into it, but it's
so sad.
Demoralizing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just like this poor fucking guy.
I'm listening to your book, by the way. Not to
Is it surprisingly good?
Talk about your book. It is surprisingly good. Yes. I stand by that is not that's a perfectly good that is high praise, Chris. Surprisingly. I know you very well. I've read a lot of your writing. I knew exactly what to expect, and the expectation was going to be good, right? Surprisingly.
Oh, okay. So surprisingly better than good.
I would have expected. Yes, exactly. But no, I was just listening to the audiobook version, and the de-evolution of society, as you kind of explained it in this world that you built, is scary. How I'm seeing some of these things as well.
Yeah.
So that's all we'll say there. Okay, Volkswagen hates your kids. They hate internal combustion cars, and they hate.
You want to read this one?
Sure. Retro body conversions for Japan's ultra-compact K cars turn the nation's tiny runabouts into everything from classic Chevy trucks to old Ford paddle vans. The vehicles are tastefully done, and many Americans are interested in importing a pint-sized lookalike. So we have friends and people on the Discord who have these little K trucks. They're so
fun.
Cool. I kind of want one. Like, why would you spend? Because like side-by-side ATVs or UTVs, they call them.
Register them here.
Those things are like $20,000.
Unless you have a farm,
$25,000, $30,000.
You can't register them here in Minnesota.
What, a UTV?
These little K cars. These little
Really?
It's illegal unless you have a farm or something.
Because I was gonna say, you know where I'm going with this. Why would you spend all your money on one of those when you could have a dedicated K truck, same size, same functionality, but actually better in a lot of ways.
Right?
They have AC. I really like them, and I like the. Yes, exactly, and a fully enclosed cabin. You don't have to buy the accessory panels. So, I like this idea though that you can like rebody them to look like these things. Okay, so here's the thing: you need to be warned. Buying a tribute car that looks too much like its muse could get it intercepted and destroyed by U.S. Customs. Such was the sad fate recently met by a 1996 Subaru Sambar van styled to look like a classic Type 1 Volkswagen bus, as relayed to the Drive by U.S.-based importer Tyler Barg. He laid out in detail how his attempt to import the little Subi ended in complete disaster, despite his best efforts to save the van, and it's the definition of a cautionary tale for others. They also reached out to Volkswagen for comment. No surprise, hadn't heard back. Okay, so Barg, the importer, operates a company.
You ready?
All right, you posted it up while I keep. Barg operates a company called Tiki Bunny Imports, which helps people ship their K car of their dream stateside. And the Subaru saga began in 2021 when a friend reached out for help in locating a Volkswagen bus lookalike. After a bit of searching, he found the perfect van, a 1996 Sambar with just 53,000 miles, a rare multi-panel sunroof, and the aforementioned Volkswagen Type 1 body conversion, complete with a big Volkswagen badge. It was even in the client's favorite color. Barg then put money together with his wife to buy it. He knew it was risky for the cash, blah, 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 blah. It all seemed to be going great, but it turns out Maryland is where the trouble started.
Look at this thing, Jake.
U.S. Customs and Border Patrol. I like that.
It's cute.
It's very cute. I mean, it's exactly like you can see why you wanted it, right?
It's not the exact
K-truck
one,
thing.
It's
yeah, that's the conversion. That makes sense. Okay, so U.S. Customs and Border Protection screens every car imported to the U.S. We know this. One of its jobs is to verify the legality of impound goods, including whether they abide by copyright law. That I didn't know. Because Barg's retro-bodied Subaru had that big Volkswagen badge on the front, CBP contacted Volkswagen of America and asked whether the van was authorized to wear the branding as is procedure. What is this procedure? And how many people are we employing to do this?
So this is something that I think is just made to protect businesses from like China.
I know, like you don't want all of these
fake Louis Vuitton bags coming knockoffs.
But it's not like this guy was importing, 50,000 to resale.
I know.
Like it's just a one-off. Okay, Volkswagen said it wasn't, obviously, and the company considered a fake version of one of its products. The CBP subsequently seized the Subaru on November 1st in 2021 on the suspicion that the van was, quote, counterfeit. However, it's a counterfeit product that Volkswagen no longer sells.
That van looks too fun. It looks too fun.
Yeah. Barg didn't learn of the seizure for more than a month. And as it turns out, a typo in his email address meant he wasn't notified and remained completely in the dark until Customs sent an official letter in late December, of which he had no idea that the vehicle was taken.
I'm way too impatient for that. I've been like, where's my mini bus thing?
Oh,
where is this thing? Where is it? Why isn't it here?
Right. It's been over a year. So after months of emails, another letter from a law firm representing Volkswagen, from Volkswagen official, arrived in March. In 2022, so
I read the letter. It's
and laid out the automaker's copyright complaint in
detail. Douchey.
The document accused him of importing a, quote, knockoff Volkswagen microbus, claiming that the, quote, public will be confused if it sees these vehicles driving down the road or sees them otherwise and will erroneously believe that Volkswagen has created this vehicle.
No.
The letter offered Barg various resolutions, from simply abandoning the van to taking the issue to court. Sure.
Yeah, go up against Volkswagen.
Sure. Bring us to court.
Sue us.
Bring us to court. Barg chose middle ground and petitioned Volkswagen and Customs for a compromise. He asked to be given access to the van, to remove the Volkswagen badge, alter its paint, and restore its Subaru branding, and sign an NDA, which is ridiculous.
Essentially,
if he reversed the overt branding, he said the owner felt he would be addressing the automaker's concerned, but this was not the case. He didn't even get a response from Volkswagen's legal team, while U.S. Customs denied his petition, stating that short of a costly court battle, the van will be, quote, disposed of in accordance with government guidelines.
Rest in peace, van.
So this really bugs me, though, because, like, how many times have you seen guys do admittedly terrible, like,
but they're already here.
Tribute jobs to other cars. Here. Yeah, but okay, so how is that different?
Because it's like this imported.
Is a one-off custom.
Because it's Customs, man. Customs is brutal. They are brutal.
That's ridiculous.
All right, so I wanted to one more.
That's all the time we have.
No, that is incorrect. I would like to note that a grandpa car is now breaking production records on racetracks.
Okay.
Mercedes AMG 1 breaks production car record at Monza. That's it. I just wanted to note that if you want to click on that thing.
No, this thing, I've looked at this thing. It's their hypercar, their F1 derived hypercar. Yeah, it's awesome.
Grandpa
it's
car.
Great. It's not. This is a hypercar built by a grandpa car company.
All right, guys. What do we got going on Friday? I believe we have Alvin Springer coming on. He was one of the founders of.
Now, who is Alvin?
He grew up in Germany, moved to Canada, moved back to Germany, and then ended up somehow, and I got to figure this out. Like, I don't know. I haven't interviewed him yet, but he ended up working for Vasek Polak as like the head mechanic, like working on 917s and preparing them for the track.
Yep.
And doing it better than the factory did. Like, and then so then he once he left there, he founded Andile, and you know Andile, they're like a
really?
Yeah. So that he was a big part of that. And then
cool.
in the 90s, he took over at like Porsche Motorsports North America. And now this dude is so legit that he is on the rules making committee for like all these motorsports governing bodies. So you know you've made it when you're the dude making the rules. So we have him coming on.
So I'm sure he has some stories.
Absolutely. So
I can't wait to hear that.
We'll have him on Friday. And that's all the time we have for today. I hope this worked out and hope it didn't turn into a technological disaster like last week. I won't know yet until I go to edit it, but hopefully this worked out.
You know, if it does, we appreciate your patience.
Yeah, we do.
You know, we really do strive, as I said to some of our listeners on the Discord. You know, we pride ourselves in having like high quality audio content in general. And so we're striving for it. So thank you for your patience.
Take care, guys. We will see you later this week.
Take care.